I'm
Are you
bouncing.
recording this episode from Gene's place?
Yeah, we're recording live from the gutter.
Shit,
Also,
man.
So if I lag out, it's probably because I lose internet or we get really busy.
if you guys need to refer to me, you can just call me Ez. That's what they call me on the Buckeye Show.
All right, cool. But yeah, that's crazy. So, I was never planning on doing a podcast live show, but we've got one tonight, and I would rather have it from no other place in the entire beautiful city of Pittsburgh than Gene's place. Those rum and cokes did some damage to my brain. I'll tell you that much. I know less than I did getting into college. It's probably because of those $5 rum and cokes. I don't want to know what the price is right now. Do not inform me. Um, all right, Simplify live from Gene's place.
First down, goes to the sidelines, has a man wide
It reminds me of last year in the Garden against St. John. And guys just stepped up. Blake hits a what the hell three. We're like, what are you doing? And he's done that all year.
Klicka out to Bizzario. It's over. The Pitt Panthers have upset Wisconsin. Anybody if he hits his field goal. Up and got it. Sauls does it again.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Simplify Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Ian Labatch, live from Gene's place, and Mason Kling, live from not Gene's place, undisclosed location. We will not be revealing that to our audience. We'll start with Mason. How are we doing tonight?
Doing well. I've been better. I've been worse. Was a lot worse on Sunday morning after drinking my sorrows away on Saturday night. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was one of those day drinking events where I fell asleep at like 6 o'clock, woke up at like 2 in the morning. I was like, I can't leave yet. It's 2 in the morning, so I've got to just kind of lay here for about 4 hours. Ian, how we doing live from Gene's?
Live from Gene's, those Panther bombs did me pretty dirty on Saturday. And I rode that to ending the night back here. So we're just looking forward to Georgia Tech.
And speaking of Georgia Tech, we have a friend of the show joining the pod. Longtime listeners will remember I went on his pod when the Jordan Addison news dropped. This is back in 2021. I don't think I ever had the chance to welcome him back on the pod. It's Ezra, the Everything app user, Cavs Buckeyes. Now, you may be wondering, Cavs Buckeyes, that sounds like an Ohio State fan. You'd be correct, but Ez is a graduate of Georgia Tech, so for the first time we are having a sort of behind enemy lines podcast. So Ez, how we doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I was born in Columbus, grew up as a Buckeye fan. That remains to this day, obviously. But as a proud graduate of Georgia Tech, I am very invested in that football team as well. I try to keep it more as my quote unquote normal person fandom, but given my nature, that is not always possible. So I've been pretty in the weeds this season with Georgia Tech having their best one in more than a decade, really.
I would say it's pretty analogous to how the 2021 Pitt season sort of awoke the freak in all the hosts of this show. And frankly, we're glad to have you on. Real quick, let's recap the Notre Dame game. I can recap it for you real quick. That game fucking sucked. Mason.
Yeah, I have a couple stats. I don't even know if I want to say them. I got to say one. 0 of 13 on third down.
It's
Brutal.
been a minute since we had a bad
Brutal.
third down game like that. Like, this is...
Yeah, it was, Kent and I were talking about it as we were watching the game. If you eliminate two back-to-back plays in that first quarter of the broken touchdown run to the pick immediately after, like, we were down 14-0 in the blink of an eye. If that doesn't happen, think we have a fighting chance in this game, but we didn't exactly put ourselves in great spots.
I mean, beyond that, I mean, I think the story coming out of this game is that they were just outclassed in pretty much every facet. They got eaten alive on both lines of scrimmage. They did fairly well contain Jeremiah Love. I think he still averaged like 6 yards a carry or something, but only had one long run, which is kind of the key to the game. Unfortunately, they still kind of ground us out the entire game. And then, like you said, the offense didn't do anything. They had a couple chances, they squandered them, but on a down-to-down basis, they did not have enough success to really sustain any sort of momentum to win this game.
The
Ian, what's your
defense did a
take?
good job of like turning him over too. Like they put him in the offense in good spots a couple times and we didn't capitalize. So that was tough to see when you get a pick that's returned to 10-yard line or something and they get 3 points out of it, not 7. That's you gotta make the most of those opportunities when you're playing a team like Notre Dame, and we did not.
Yeah, Ian, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I could choose to be upset about the time of possession we lost, the bad third downs, but what I'm going to choose to remember about that game is meeting Aaron Donald, meeting Tony Dorsett, and that's it. I'm going to flush it. We had game day. It was cool, but on to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. End of story. Both lines didn't play that well. I guess I will shout out two guys who I think played well. Kavir Baines Marquez, the safety, KBM will be henceforth house style because that's a mouthful. Had a pick in this game, like Mason said, returned to the 2-yard line. The offense didn't do much with it. I think they're over for touchdowns in the red zone. And then Rasheem Biles. I think the only good stat out of this game is that he has still maintained the insane stat that every single pick he's had in college has been returned for a touchdown. With the one against Syracuse, one against Louisville, and then obviously this one against Notre Dame. Flush it. Let's move real quick to looking at the enemy this week. Georgia Tech escapes Boston College 36-34 on a last-second field goal here. Still 6-1 in the ACC, 9-1 overall. What are your thoughts coming out of that game?
So that game was very similar to the NC State game that Georgia Tech lost the week prior. Boston College much worse than NC State. They are famously 1-9. Georgia Tech's defense is just really bad. Like at least the past 2 weeks, it was never going to be a strength going into the season. Everyone knew that the backbone of the team was the offense, but the defense just they don't really do anything. Is I think the headline I'd give. They just kind of sit there and get gashed. Like they don't really create takeaways. They don't create havoc. The only thing they do at a mediocre level, I've got the games on paper up, is they're right in the middle of the pack at preventing explosives. But they are in the 4th percentile in EPA per play allowed. They just give up chunks regularly. That's what happened in the Boston College game. The offense was really good. They put up 600 plus total yards, but similar to the NC State game, the reason it was in the balance is because the defense is just getting gashed. If they have 1 or 2 of those drives and in field goals instead of touchdowns, which they did, then you're going to be down real fast. And that was sort of the story of the Boston College game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the game. I've got game paper up as well, so you're a man of culture. I'm looking at the team stats now. The offense, like you said, great. It's kind of close to a half circle with some low percentages in the explosives categories for Georgia Tech because they're very much a grind you out team, not too explosive in the run game or the pass game. I've never seen this before. Georgia Tech is at a negative 1st percentile for havoc rate. I don't think I've seen it. Looks kind of like a crumpled up thing of tin foil.
It's bad. I think, and you guys might know this name. Sort of the story of the offseason, and if Ohio State, if Georgia Tech doesn't reach its goals this season of primarily winning the ACC and secondarily beating Georgia, I think a lot of the reason you can look back on is losing Romello Height to Texas Tech, who is just a fantastic edge defender, supremely talented, very good against the run, good against the pass. They were not being able to retain height, and losing him to the oil barons in West Texas, I think is hovering over this season.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we talk about this matchup, and we kind of got the lowdown on Georgia Tech, as I say, this is it's an interesting matchup on both sides of the ball because it is like the Pitt defense and the Georgia Tech offense. That's good on good. In terms of success rate, Georgia Tech is, oh, geez, what is this? I'm looking at the wrong side. They are like a top 10 offense conservatively in both the run and the pass game. Now, Pitt's strength is up front in that run game, accounting for the two Haynes. But on the flip side, right, the Georgia Tech defense, on game on paper, green is good, purple is bad. There's a lot of deep purple on the Georgia Tech side, and Pitt, while inconsistent, does have an offense that works when you're not playing Notre Dame. So honestly, I don't know if I'd expect anything else from this game besides this is going to be a shootout. I think nothing short of that.
That's my expectation. I'm not a gambling man. The over under is like 61.5. This is not financial advice, but in my head, I can't see that remaining under that. So that's just sort of my feeling for it. You mentioned Jamal Haynes. I do want to note Jamal Haynes has been, and I like Jamal Haynes a lot. I've had some connections with him when I was a student. But he has been the second best back on Georgia Tech this year, in my estimation. He's only averaging 3.55 yards per carry. Malachi Hosley, who transferred from Penn before last season, in my opinion, has been Georgia Tech's better back. I still believe in Jamal Haynes. He just he hasn't been as effective as he was last year. He dropped a walk-in screen pass against Boston College for a touchdown or what would have been a touchdown that really hurt. And I think if you're a Pitt fan, the name aside from Haynes King is probably Jamal Haynes. But I would just keep an eye out for Malachi Hosley because he's basically become the lead back at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, sorry. I thought someone was going to jump in. Yeah, no. I mean, going over the stats, if we're talking about non-quarterback runs, just pulling up the stats here. Haynes King, obviously the superstar quarterback, is their leading rusher this year. Hosley and Haynes, like as said, they're basically neck and neck in actual yardage. Hosley's a little bit better with yards per carry. He's had a slightly fewer carries this year. But speaking of running backs in this game, from what we saw in the game, I don't think that we were going to expect to see Des Reed play in this game. He was helped off the field by two Pitt teammates. So in this game is going to be a lot of Ja'Kirian Turner. And while I think that he has come on quite a bit, and I do think he is a fantastic running back, he's not the pass catching threat that Des is yet. I think he might be a little bit better of a runner between the tackles, which does help the offense out quite a bit when they're struggling to do that most of the time. But that is another thing I'm keying in on because Dez is more liable to break a play. He can hit the edge and get to that edge and get 5 or 6 yards on a run that should have gone for 1 or 2. But they're probably going to be without him. I would, again, no insider information here, but I would assume he's out for this game, and most likely I would guess the rest of the season. That was a very nasty injury he sustained against Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was like
it was super weird because I saw him get carried off from the student section, and then he just was walking around the sidelines. But I would say be prepared for Goff and Turner for the rest of the season. I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see Des back, and I think it would probably be for the best. He's always hurt every time he gets in, and I love Desmond Reed, but it's just been very tough to see him get hurt constantly.
that was arguably the bigger loss because, like Pat Narduzzi said, didn't matter if we lost 110 in that game. It was all about these two. But now going into these last 2 games of the season without arguably your best player is tough. So that was a big loss aside from the scoreboard on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's sort of like everything's balanced, right? We get Jeff Percy back at left tackle, which I guess they were kind of cycling him in during that game. He was into some drives, out on others, but we do lose Des Reed, which is obviously huge in both the running and pass game. Now, I think, like we said, the Notre Dame defense is the best that Pitt's going to see the entire year. They're going to have more success this week. They'll have receivers getting open. Against Notre Dame, guys were just blanketed, could not get open. Mason had no time to throw. I believe he had 25 pressures, 4 sacks. He was doing his white Lamar Jackson impression out there, just spinning out of. By the way, I cannot believe how many times he spun out of like a pressure and didn't get killed. So props to Mason on that. But I would expect it. I mean, as usual, to be a pass heavy attack. But with Dez out, I don't know. Jakirian, I think it can be a good pass catching back, but they don't use him as such. They haven't used him as such in games where Dez has been out, which is confusing to me.
Yeah, I feel like they keep giving Goff those designed running back routes out of the backfield, and I would love to see Boozy get some more of those this week.
It does feel like they kind of reverse the skill sets because, like, you would think that Turner has the better pass catching set. Goff is the bigger guy, can run between the tackles a little bit better. I don't know. They do some confusing things here. Only other thing, need Mason to bounce back, need him to flush that game because we cannot have him throwing a pick six and letting us get down 14-0. This is a game where, last week I said, hey, Notre Dame's going to get their points. Jeremiah Love's going to get his explosive run. Georgia Tech's going to get their points in this game. They have a fantastic offense, and even in their only loss this season, NC State didn't really stop them. It's just that Georgia Tech stopped them less. So
even the the reason I said it was very similar to the BC game, the reason Georgia Tech lost that game is because they settled for field goals. Even when they didn't get a touchdown, they were still driving with ease. They now torching the NC State defense isn't the most impressive thing ever, right. but basically the Georgia Tech plan for the past month or so has been we're going to try to score on every single possession, right? That's basically been, and maybe the defense steps up in this game for Georgia Tech, but there's no reason to just assume that they're just going to be solid from here on out.
Yeah, Ezra, I was talking about this a couple weeks ago. The NC State Georgia game was one that I kept betting on Georgia Tech when they were down because I was like, the offense looks so good. I was like, they're going to get a stop eventually. They are driving, and it just the
they
NC
just
State
never got to stop.
They never got that stop.
They just never got to stop. Yeah, The Georgia Tech defense. If you do want a couple players to watch out for, Jordan Vanderberg, the defensive tackle, he's like a South African guy. He's got a weird helmet. He's definitely the best. I'd say he's the most talented player on the defense. He'll get after it. He'll cause. If anyone's going to cause havoc, it's him. And then Kyle Eifert's the Mike linebacker. He's just sort of a traditional leader type linebacker guy. He's a good player. Definitely some weakness in the secondary. So that's where I was talking with Zach a couple weeks ago. The Mason Heinchel sort of coming out party does scare me as a Georgia Tech fan. I just see this game as, it's been said before, I just see this as pure fireworks basically from start to finish.
By the way, he does have that it's the helmet that looks like a
it's a race car motorcycle kind of looking thing a little bit.
I think it looks like a bird kind of, the alternate logo that Kansas uses with the really big beak.
Yes. Yeah. It kind of looks like that. It's one of the weird ones on the NCAA that you give a guy if you want to make him stand out.
All right, real quick. Let's just talk Pitt defense going up against, quirked up white boy of the decade, Haynes King. The good news for the Pitt defense is that the front seven is pretty much the gang is all together. You've got, the names to know, obviously, for any Georgia Tech fans listening in. Hi, by the way. Jimmy Scott and Isaiah Neal are your top two DNs. Jaden Moore is coming off an injury in camp. He's slowly getting worked into it. Top four D tackles being Sean Fitzsimmons, Nick James, Francis Brewu, and now Jasir Whittington with Neal moving out to end. The three linebackers, everyone knows, Kyle Lewis, Braylon Lovelace, Rasheem Biles only back from injury. Like that front seven is kind of the hinge point, right? Because with the condition of the Georgia Tech secondary, Mason National's a freshman. He might throw a pick. Has been doing it, but that's where the stops would come from Georgia Tech. Where the stops are going to come from Pitt are getting something going with that front seven, getting the seam in a third and long, or getting them behind the sticks, right? Because Pitt is fantastic at creating havoc with that front seven. Now, that's where they can kind of force Georgia Tech to play. I think a game they don't want to play. You know, I would assume, because I've watched a little bit of Georgia Tech this year, they don't want to be throwing it that much, be behind the six that much. You know, they're very much they're almost closer to like how a triple option team operates, where you just want to keep going forward. The issue with Pitt's defense is that they can get you behind the sticks. Unfortunately, they still employ Rashad Battle at cornerback. Big number 15. If there's going to be like a explosive in this game, it's going to be from the corners, because I think the safeties, which is Brookins still hurt, because McIntyre played a lot against Notre Dame. Do you know that?
I think Brookins should be good to go. I was just like, Javon has still been a liability. He's been better the last 2 weeks. I would like to see the freshman, number 14, Josh Gutierrez, or I think that's how you pronounce it.
Guerriere or something like that.
Josh Guerriere, yeah, sorry. He's been really good in the limited snaps, and I think that it'd be good to get him worked in here. He already burned his red shirt, and I'm not the biggest Javon McIntyre fan on here.
Well, I mean, that's a weird one with me, because I would rather them go to, I guess, KBM and Brookins kind of play the similar role, and Guerriere is going to back up McIntyre at the other safety. Obviously, Sean Lee, outside of getting mossed by like a 6'9" tight end, has been great this year until he got mossed by a 6'9" tight end. Yeah, man, all the stars are here, because we haven't got to the narrative about the narratives around this game, because, you know, even though Pitt lost and they didn't lose by 100, so I appreciate that. I appreciate the team for doing that. I appreciate Eli Holstein and your last minute touchdown to make it look a lot closer than it was. By the way, what was the final score? 37-15. That is an evil score. Yeah, 37-15.
Yeah,
That's
a weird
bad
score.
vibe
That's a
all
weird
around.
score.
Is that a scoregami?
Doing that for college football would be so difficult. Like that's
Yeah.
it's like
They have an account for it.
Oh, do they? That's gotta be like so much data though. Like where do you draw the line? Like, does Georgia Tech 222-0? Like, is that in there? Is that a scoregami?
Yeah.
So the board here only goes up to 100. They limited it to 100.
Okay.
37-15. Oh, nope. Two games at okay. So it's FBS scoregami.
Okay.
We can work with that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do you want a quick breakdown of like the Georgia Tech offense, just sort of what to expect?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay. Yeah, they don't. You were absolutely correct. They don't want to be behind the sticks. They don't want to be behind in the game in general. They aren't quite as like they do like to throw the ball. It's more just like it's intermediate over the middle stuff. Like Georgia Tech's kind of a throwback team to the mid 2010s in that they have a lot of players who are like hybrid H-back types, right? Like that's Jamal Haynes. Jamal Haynes came in as a wide receiver. He's more of a running back now, but he's both. Malik Rutherford, who had a huge explosive last week, you know, is a veteran player, kind of a hybrid guy. Jordan Allen, true freshman, also had a massive explosive last week when they really need one. He is incredibly fast, another hybrid type of guy. Isaiah Canyon is more of a traditional receiver. He's tall. He's 6'4". I'm always impressed with Isaiah Canyon. And then Eric Rivers is also the other sort of like primary receiver type who came in from FIU this offseason. So I'd say go ahead.
I was going to say Eric Rivers. I should have known that name because one of the Georgia Tech games I watched, he was like going off. He's a very good receiver.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. It's a very talented skill core. Like it's like I said, it's a little bit of a throwback, but they have guys who will burn teams. And Haynes King, he is not a very good deep shot thrower. I feel like he overthrows every deep shot he's ever taken. That not saying he couldn't hit one; he's hit them in the past. But his real strength as a passer is like over the middle crosser stuff, leading guys into yak. Like I would say that is where he is operating as his most at his most efficient as a passer. As a runner, like I think it's kind of easy, and I'm sure you guys are ACC fans, so you probably have watched enough Georgia Tech to know this. But just in case anyone out there hasn't, like, it's kind of easy to imagine that he's more of like a Tebow type runner, where it's like straight ahead, downfield, quarterback power type stuff. But because he's a white guy, like it's easy to imagine that. But he is elusive. Like he is elusive. He will escape the backfield. He will make guys miss in the open space. I mean, he is just a very like complete college quarterback, I'd say.
Yeah, you mentioned the quarterback power thing. I think a lot of people get that idea, and I fall into this myself because he does a lot of that on the goal line where he will just run through people. But when he is running, between the 20s, right, he does have a little bit of wiggle to him. I also want to apologize real quick. I had the sliders set wrong for the year range. 37-15, there were 23 games that had that score. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's just
I cannot remember a 37-15 game, but okay.
I'm not seeing an FBS one in recent ones, but
yeah.
It's a weird site. Sorry, Ian, go ahead. I cut you off.
Oh, I just had a question about Haynes King. Where is his wear and tear bar at this point in the season?
So honestly, it's less than you'd expect. He has not been as beat up as he had an early season injury that caused him to miss. I think it was the Gardner-Webb game right before Clemson. That was a little bit like, okay, here we go. Is it going to be like, because he missed a fair amount of games last year, and they really like Aaron Philo, his backup. He's the like all-time leading passer in Georgia high school football, but he's just a very different quarterback. The offense is just not the same without Haynes King. That's not surprising to anyone, but I think he is more healthy than you might expect based off the very famous Georgia game last year, then sort of the early season injury report. Someone wrote it. I forget who wrote it, but there was a feature on him at some point where he's like, Bright Key asked him, like, how's your shoulder doing? And he's like, that's fine, but I'm pissing blood or something. Like he will, like there will probably be a shot where he's looking like, Jesus Christ, did this guy just come back from the trenches? But he is not, there's no, like, formal injury designation as far as I'm aware.
Do you have an elevator pitch for why I should bet on Haynes King to win the Heisman at plus 3,300? Is there any value there?
My pitch would be is if you think they can beat Georgia, then he's gonna have a real narrative case. Like, and the stats are there. Like his stats are like, I think he should go to New York. It's just, it's he's fighting an uphill battle against like the Big Two conference guys. But if he beats Georgia, I think his case is very live. Or if Georgia Tech beats Georgia, that case is very live, in my opinion. So if you think that's possible, I'm less confident than I was a month ago, but I still think it's possible. If you think that can happen, then, sprinkle a little something on Haynes King.
It'd kind of be like an emotional hedge for us because, like,
right, yeah.
we could get him now before he has a good win over Pitt and then goes to Georgia. Like, now would be the time. But
now would be the time. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. So one last thing is I do want to talk about sort of like the big narratives around this game because very important for both teams if you haven't figured out at this point. You mentioned over the middle passes. That's another kind of thing where it's like it's very strange because that over the middle passing can be a weakness of Pitt and also a strength because they have three linebackers who are liable to be good in coverage, but also three linebackers that every once in a while will just be, I don't know, doing headstands 5 yards in the backfield when they should be covering like a tight end. So just another hinge point in this game to watch out for when Georgia Tech's on offense. Now, getting into like sort of the large narratives here, how important this game is to safely be in the playoff. Both teams need to have this game. Both teams have a clear path to the playoff by winning the ACC. Georgia Tech might have one if things fall their way. If they lose this and then lose this close and beat Georgia to end the year.
Then they would have a case as an at-large. But the cleanest path for both is obviously just win the ACC. And I never got the And I guess it was mostly around Duke, but I never got are they going to put 2 G5 champs? No, they're not. The ACC champ is in the play. Like that narrative was very strange to me. So
Yeah, I mean, also with how they're ranking the G5 teams, I
yeah,
think the only team ranked in this
it's
week is
Tulane. It's
Tulane,
Tulane. Yeah,
which is
they're probably
absurd.
not
But
even going to win the American. Like it's probably going to be North Texas at this point. But yeah, whatever.
well, funny enough, if they keep Tulane ranked and they all end up with one loss, that would actually be a tiebreaker in Tulane's favor with the AAC.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they use the CFP ranks as a tiebreaker.
Yeah, but
Awesome
they're not going
job.
to put James Madison in over the ACC champ. I'm sorry. It's just like even if it was Duke, like I still don't think they would.
Maybe if it was Duke, but Duke took care of themselves, so you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, listen. So, when it comes to sort of like, I think if Georgia Tech loses this, I think if either team loses, I think they're out of the running for the AC championship.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech might be alive. Very weird tiebreakers have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt loses this, they have 2 conference losses, and they're pretty much done. They would need some really weird shit to happen. If Pitt wins this, they still need one of Virginia or SMU to drop another game. The 3-way ties do not favor Pitt in this game or in the conference tiebreakers. So it is, on all accounts, for both teams, a must win. And I don't know, man. Georgia Tech is just underranked. I don't know why they're 16th. They got punished very hard for losing to NC State in a shootout. I think that was on the road, right? As well.
Yeah, it was on the
road game, right? Like they should be higher than 16. Like Georgia Tech, I think. Granted, this is the universe where if they lose this and beat Georgia, I think they have a better at-large like resume or like case than Miami. I know Miami has.
Yeah, I do too. I think Georgia would be a better win than Notre Dame, I guess. Anyways, sorry, not to get off track, but yeah, in terms of like, the narrative for Georgia Tech, like this is like, honestly, this is probably the biggest game in school for the team since like 2016. If I like just, you could like in hindsight, was the Georgia game last year bigger where they had a chance to win? Like maybe you could argue that, but like going into the game, like this is a win and you're in the ACC championship game. They have not been close to that position for a long time. Georgia Tech, in terms of like student attendance, Atlanta attendance, it's very much like a if you build it, they will come type situation. So they have had some empty buildings over the past few years, but it's going to be full, and I would assume rocking on Saturday night. So this is like kind of a culmination in a lot of ways for Georgia Tech. As a fan, I would just say, like, please God, can they just have the defense, even if they lose, like just like make it so that the defense gives the offense a chance, I guess would be my hope.
Is it the reverse with us, hoping the offense gives the defense a chance in this game?
Pretty much, yeah. No,
I mean the game is simple as, get the offense back on track, and then if that happens, whatever team gets one more stop, they're probably going to win, and then the winner is, they're one step closer to the ACC title. I'm not saying playoff, just ACC title, because Pitt's got Miami next week, and you guys have Georgia next week. So I will not be doing any future forecasting for Thanksgiving weekend.
This is the line on this game. I'm seeing it at 2.5. Georgia Tech favored by 2.5. Is that where you guys see it?
Yeah, so it's basically, it would be a pick 'em if it was neutral, right? Like
right.
That's the
yeah. Which I don't know. I would have thought that on a neutral site we still would have been. I thought like a neutral site game would have been like Georgia Tech by 2.5. That was me who just sat through the beating that was Notre Dame. But
I think
a lot of power ranking models are pretty low on Georgia Tech. I've noticed, and Pitt has steadily climbed up to, I think the last time I checked, like the average, like the Big Five had like Pitt like five or seven spots ahead of Georgia Tech. And I think, Notre Dame knocked them down because that was a bad game statistically. Right? That's going to impact the models. But I mean, as we're talking through this, right, this is a matchup where like the weak parts of the ball for both teams are matching up against each other, and the strengths are matching up against each other. So I'm not really too surprised it's a pick 'em.
Mhm.
Like it's just strength on strength, and like and then your other side of the ball is getting air out there. And I'm not trying to shit dog the bit offense. I just saw them just think it up, so I'm a little hurt.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like players on the Georgia Tech defense. I don't mean to be too down on. It's just like you can't erase, and I'm sure it's similar for you guys with the offense. Like you just as a fan, you can't erase the last thing you saw. And for Georgia Tech, it's been 2 games in a row, right, where it's just like, Jesus, guys, can you get off the fucking field? Sorry, I don't know if you swear on this show, but
Oh my god, we've said some.
yeah.
I opened last week. We're now Sharia 5 podcast. I was trying to invoke, thinking about the Crusades. Usually
Yeah.
the Islamic warriors beat back the Christians. Unfortunately, this is one of the ones where they sacked Jerusalem.
It got away. Yeah. The thing that was like the slightly vulgar metaphor I had for the Georgia Tech defense is like they just sit there and starfish. Like that's like that's how I can describe it from
Sometimes I think our O line does that. All right. Before we get in trouble, any last thoughts on this game from anybody else?
Do you guys think I'm going to be able to find a bar in Portugal that has the game on?
Dude, it's gonna be 2 in the morning.
It's gonna be like 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, so from personal experience, the bars close at 3. So the answer is, well, one, most of them don't have sports on. They're more like they're not
club
sports
bars, right? Yeah, they're more like clubs, right?
They're all more like clubs, yeah. And then it's gonna be 3 in the morning, so you're gonna get kicked out of the bar.
So no.
If you bring your like laptop down to the hotel lobby, maybe you can recreate the magic a little bit.
It's going to be a long Saturday night, Ian. Prepare for it. All right. Also, real quick, because I forgot to say this at the top of the show, it was the worst week in Pitt sports. Obviously we talked about Notre Dame, but basketball, men's lost in just pooping their pants fashion in West Virginia. I didn't watch a second of it. I was having a nice date. Awesome decision by me. Volleyball loses at Stanford, so they're now no longer a top 4 seed. Probably won't get a top 4 seed. And then shout out to women's basketball for maybe having the worst loss of the weekend, losing to Division III Scranton at home. You really can't make it up. I think that Alan Green might have dug up a Native American artifact that was buried on campus, put it back in the grave, bring in the shaman, cleanse your shit, move on to Georgia Tech. All right. Let's talk about week.
If you want sorry, this is just too perfect. If you want a little company in the misery, Georgia Tech women's basketball lost to Jacksonville last week. I had never it's a university in Jacksonville, Florida that I had never heard of before. They had lost to Jacksonville last week. So there's a little parallel right there.
Are they they are at least Division I.
Okay.
So
they're called the Dolphins. I had never heard of them before.
Oh shit! You know who went to Jacksonville?
Who?
Cade Bell.
Oh, really?
Cade Bell was the quarterback at Jacksonville.
I had no idea.
I was like, why did I know that? Oh, because if you go to his huddle page, which is still up, there's a picture of him in his practice jersey at Jacksonville.
There you go.
So I think that's a good omen for us, right?
I don't know what that means.
Might not mean anything at all. All right. Week number 12. Let's get us started on Friday night. Florida State, NC State. It's a bowl eligibility game.
They having a mid-off.
They're having a mid-off. Next, Hawaii at UNLV. This is good in the Mountain West. 10:30 on Fox Sports 1. If you're out, watch this one. This one will be fun. Great uniform matchup. Rainbow Warriors and Rebels. It's not on the island, so UNLV is a 2.5 point favorite, but UNLV doesn't have a defense, so I think it might be a really fun one. Moving into that noon slate on Saturday. As I'll give you a second here. Ohio State Rutgers. What's the final score here?
Shit, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Cardinal Tate and Jeremiah Smith are going to play. I think they're being very cautious with those two before the Michigan game. So it might be kind of like, I mean, Rutgers isn't any good. I would say something similar to UCA last week, like 42-6 or something.
Fair enough. No other thoughts on what's going to be a body bag game? There are some pretty good matchups in the noon slate, though. Missouri at Oklahoma. It's technically a top 25 matchup. That's one of those teams that's only ranked in the top 25 to lose to a top team. I don't think that Missouri has the juice here with Bo Pribula being out. They're down to, I think, their true freshman quarterback now. They're going to build this as the big game. No interest from me. But in the ACC, of note for both of us here, Miami goes to Virginia Tech. I don't think that one's going to happen. It would be very funny if it did. But the one we're all keeping an eye on is Louisville at SMU. Now, as I mentioned earlier, SMU is one of the teams that Pitt needs to lose to get a chance at a title game berth. They've got Louisville this week at home, and they go to Cal on the final week of the season. I think this is the shot for them to lose it here.
I think I don't know what the line is on that game. I view Louisville and SMU as very similar teams. Like I don't think there's any reason Louisville couldn't win that game.
The only reason I see is Isaac Brown. I think is still out, the running back.
Okay. I did not know that.
Brown is still out.
Yeah, SMU's a 2.5 point favorite, so similar kind of thing to Pitt and Georgia Tech here.
I wonder if Louisville got a kicker between this week and last week, because me and Zach were watching the game in jeans and watched that kicker miss an extra point and like 3 kicks or something insane.
That was rough for Louisville. It was good for us because Louisville was another team we needed to have 3 losses, and they're now out of the equation. But oh my God, losing in that fashion to like this dead in the water Clemson team on 3 missed kicks, a 1-point game, and you lose on 3 missed kicks. That was tough. That was tough for them. Also,
real quick note on, you touched on this really quick with Miami and Virginia Tech. You're right. I agree. Probably not going to happen, but Virginia Tech gets the Franklin bump. Maybe makes a little magic happen. I don't know. Keep an eye on it.
We should talk about that at the very end.
Yeah.
Should have done it at the beginning. Also, one last in the news slate to shout out, because it's a lot of SoCon Saturday here. Wake Forest hosting Delaware. Wake Forest gonna have 8 wins this year at minimum.
They should have beat Georgia Tech. Like, honestly. I'll hand up. I thought they were going to be one of the worst P4 teams in the country, especially when they like almost lost to Kennesaw State, like right at the start of the season. But they
week 1.
Yeah, but they've been a good football team.
They've got a really nasty defense there, which I didn't expect. But they hired Dickert at Washington State. So that, didn't expect it, but honestly working out pretty well so far. Let's see. There's some Big 12 slop. You've got Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor, Arizona. No, thank you. A lot of SoCon Saturday bullshit. 3:00 on ESPN. UConn is going to get to 9 wins. 9-win UConn, everybody. Just think about that. In the 3:30 slot, there is one really big game. This is even more playoff implications than Pitt Georgia Tech. It is USC at Oregon. Straight up, the winner of this game is probably going to be that 3rd Big Ten team.
Yeah, I think Oregon theoretically could backdoor as a 10-2 team, but they would not feel comfortable about it if they lose this game.
Not in the slightest.
I think Oregon's going to make it easy on all of us and just go ahead and bounce USC out. And
I wouldn't be shocked about. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I think it's I could see a universe where the USC offense comes to play and they steal a victory, but like I would almost be more betting on Oregon just taking them to the woodshed.
I
Yeah,
think go ahead, Mason.
I was just saying I like him to win. I like him to cover at 9.5 too.
I think the fact that this one is in Austin makes a lot of difference. If this one was in LA, I could much more easily see that USC offense clicking, Makai Lemon and Mayava going crazy. It's in Austin. The only people to beat them over the last like two plus years there is Indiana, who's the number
right? Yeah.
2 team in the country.
Yeah.
So, I could see it, but I can't visualize it in my head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, want to shout out 4:00 on Big Ten Network, Michigan at Maryland. I'll be there. Me and my coach going to that game, so
Nice.
I get to see Mike Loxley. Nothing interesting about that game.
Nope.
Don't watch that game. Screen 2. If you're watching at home, you're not going to be in Atlanta. I would make it Nebraska Penn State. That is, if they lose that, welcome to the Penn State Century of Humiliation. It will be cemented. I think Penn State's an 8.5 point favorite. Good God.
I mean, there's some weird stuff going on with the like
Raiola's brother just decommitted
Yeah.
to Nebraska.
and he stinks. He stinks, but it's still weird because like they knew he stunk when they took him, so it is a little strange.
Yeah, is Rule leaving? Like, I don't know. Or is Raiola entering the portal?
No, Rule's not leaving.
I would bet more. Not that I like have any knowledge of either, but like if I had to, I would say Raiola leaving is more likely than Rule leaving at this point. It seems to me.
Yeah, because Rule just got that big extension for another 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Penn State's gonna be in on Rule, especially now that they've kind of fallen apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird situation, but
Raiola feels like such a Miami Hurricane. Like,
ooh, you might have just called that, man, because every year Miami's like, yo, bro, one more chance for QB.
Yeah.
I promise, one more chance for QB. It's gonna be Raiola. That's
Raiola or Sam Levitt, I guess, right? Like there was that report about him being shopped around, which is so funny, but
no, because they're gonna go for Raiola because Sam Levitt is, while he's fine,
he's not flashy.
Raiola,
he's not like he doesn't have like the hype beast,
Exactly. He's the big name where all their fans can puff out their chest, and then he throws 6 interceptions against Syracuse, and they get the ACC championship again. Other games on Tennessee, Florida. Cal Stanford, not a great game, but it's an awesome rivalry. So if you have a second screen, I'd recommend just putting that one on. Great uniform matchup. Will most likely be a Cal fan takeover in that Stanford Stadium. We were hearing that it was close to like 60-40 Pitt fans when they went out to Stanford, and that was a bleak crowd. And
who are they going to hire? Like, because
I forgot that job's open. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was the very rare interim head coach that you hire from it. That's just such a bizarre thing. Like you just don't see that setup ever really. But yeah, we'll see.
That's a tough one. And then there is one very good night game on BYU at Cincinnati.
Cincinnati winning that would really mess up the Big 12. Like if you want to see a second Big 12 team get in, like if you think maybe like Utah could sneak in as an at-large, or like, I don't know, get to the title game and beat Texas Tech, but Texas Tech would still get in. Like if Cincinnati wins that, like that really shakes up the Big 12.
I think for all intents, if you're looking at 2 Big 12 teams, I think you would need to have a Texas Tech BYU rematch. If I'm just like game planning it, I think that's probably the best way to get them in. If Cincinnati wins this, that does open the door for maybe a 10-2 Georgia Tech. Like that's something that you would probably be looking out for with that team.
Yeah, it kind of all depends on. It's like I haven't really started even processing at-large stuff yet. Like because the thing is, like, I mean, obviously, but their ACC fate is sealed this weekend. So like if they lose on Saturday, then I'll be like, okay, what could get them in as an at-large? But yeah, that's sort of where my head's at.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't be out of it. You'd have 2 conference losses if Virginia and SM. I don't know how the tiebreakers work. But
I have no idea. It's so stupid that Virginia losing to NC State isn't a I mean, I'm sure you guys have talked about that, but it's just so stupid. Like, it's unbelievably dumb. Like,
I feel like with that also, did people forget that UNC and Wake Forest did this for years?
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Granted, it never mattered because they were never close to the title
Yeah.
game, and it was when they had divisions. But they would do that for years to have all the
Carolina schools play.
yes, all Carolina schools play. So people forget, but that's just been a thing. And now they're playing in Brazil. And announced that they're playing that game in Brazil next year. If you're a fan of NC State or Virginia football, you should go and tar and feather your AD.
Like, yeah, like that's so stupid.
There's a lot of Cavalier fans in Rio, I heard.
Yeah, Wolfpack in Sao Paulo Wolfpack, bro.
Did you guys know that this is a total non sequitur, but I was sad that this got canceled because I think it was bad for Michigan, but they were supposed to play Western Michigan in Germany in week 1, not in week 0. So they were going to play Western Michigan in Germany in week 1 and then host Oklahoma in week 2. And it's like, what? Like, why would you do that?
It's a recipe for disaster.
It's like, so I was mad at when it got canceled, but yeah, it's just more bizarre international. Like,
well, then Michigan wanted to move that game to like July, and they were trying to like negotiate the game to be played in July.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really talk much because like we have an international game coming up, but it's week 0. It's non-con.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I can write it off. But
yeah, exactly.
A conference game in Brazil?
That's absurd. That is absurd.
That's Eagles territory, Mason. They were the first ones to play down there.
You gotta watch out for the turf. Watch out for the turf down there.
All right. That is the Week 12 preview. And because we've got to do at the top of the show, we have our first coach hiring of 2025. James Franklin, Jimmy Franks, have been hired by Virginia Tech. This is kind of a low simmering rumor for a couple weeks, and now it's official. Question for everybody. What week is he going to complain about the airport in Blacksburg?
Soon, I would say. I kind of like James Franklin more than consensus. But I don't know how this is an odd. First of all, I think it's a perfectly rational hire by Virginia Tech. I mean, they've just been dead. Like, it makes perfect sense for them to get a guy who's like put out a consistent product up until this year. But like, sort of the whole thing with Penn State is that like they just had like, other than Ohio State, they had the best players in the conference. And like, are they going to get that at Vatech? Like, how much money do they have that wasn't being used? I don't know.
It's a good question. I mean, he was a very strong DMV recruiter. Like, that's where he built his Penn State teams. A lot of DC players, a lot of Maryland players. So a lot of Virginia guys. Like, again, on paper, this makes a ton of sense. He's a very stable coach. Will probably get them towards like that top end of the ACC. It's just a matter of if he can get that talent in the door. Which, they say they're going to upgrade the funding. Who knows if that's going to come? But it's a hire that spooks me. But my narrative is that he actually missed playing Pat Narduzzi so much that he got fired at Penn State, took the Virginia Tech job just so he could, get back with his boys, right? And they play each other next year. We're talking nuclear level stupid Pat Narduzzi comment.
Yeah, I don't love it as a Georgia Tech fan. I mean, they are nominally one of our rivals. It's you don't love it, but there's still combustion potential there. I have a quick question for you guys. Does the unrivaled thing that Penn State does piss you off? I just think it's the dumbest thing ever that they like brag about, like, oh, we're unrivaled, but we actually kind of have rivals, but we don't play them. And it's like, and we have to beat Ohio State, but they're not our right. Like, what do you guys think about that whole thing?
So dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. That whoever came up with that little marketing technique to get that cult fired up, they're pretty smart. But everybody outside of it sees through that bullshit, and it's the corniest thing ever.
It's so stupid. Like, I don't get it. But
it's the dumbest thing. I mean, like, it's just something at this point I just kind of laugh at, because like they're just denying the fact that they have rivals, and like the rivals they want, Ohio State, Michigan, do not view them as rivals, so they kind of have to bend themselves into this knot and saying, well, we're unrivaled then. We don't want to play our rivals, and our rivals don't want to play us. So we got nobody. It's very lame. It feels very much like and this is like a personal pet theory of mine, but because there are so many like Penn State students that come from like the Acela corridor where college football is not a thing, they buy into it because they grew up NFL fans, and like NFL rivalries are not college rivalries, so they don't to an extent they don't get it. And like even me, like I didn't really get it until we played West Virginia, and now I get it.
Learn that quick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think from someone whose like entire high school class went to Penn State, if Penn State was so good and they were so unrivaled, like they run from Pitt, they should just play us and beat us if they're so unrivaled.
Right, that's the thing. Like if you're so above Pitt in West Virginia, like then just play them every. Like they're playing fucking like Villanova this. Like
Nevada.
I didn't even know Villanova had a football program. Like.
Yeah, Villanova was their best win until last week when they beat Michigan State.
That's their signature win.
Yeah.
By the way, congrats, Penn State fans! You finally got a Power 4 win in November. Oh man! All right.
There's got to be a joke somewhere for the Enter Sandman James Franklin thing. I've been cooking on it today and haven't come up with anything, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, someone will crack it.
Yeah.
Well. His tweets are always like, Northwestern, right? It's gonna be like exit. That's gonna be his weekly tweet. All right. I think that's gonna do it from us. Guys, thanks for joining. You have anything to plug on the pod before you hop off?
No, you can find my Twitter at Cavs Buckeyes. I'm don't you get what you sign up for with that one. If you're an Ohio State fan that's found this for whatever reason, you can find our show at the QB Draw. We are kind of a few times we usually do like 4 or 5 episodes a season, and then whenever we feel like in the off season, just whenever we want to get some takes off. So that's where my content is online. Other than that, I got nothing. It should be a good game this weekend.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Thank you all for making it to the end of the show. If you liked it, follow us on Twitter at SimplifiedPod, and we will see you next week.
Hail to Pitt.